Hi folks, I'm Steve Miller, brand manager for large outboards here at Mercury Marine. And today I'm really excited to talk to you about our all-new 150 4-stroke outboard. Now, for a lot of people, they're quite happy to take their engines to their local Mercury authorized dealer and have all their maintenance work and their service work done there and not have to worry about it. But for all you do-it-yourselfers out there, and we know there's a lot of you, we've designed this engine to be the easiest 150 4-stroke outboard on the planet to own and maintain. Now, one of the first things we did to make this the easiest to maintain outboard engine on the planet is we put this handy maintenance label right here on the side of the engine, just in case you don't happen to have an operator's manual handy or nearby. And on this maintenance schedule, it says what you need to inspect annually, which are anodes and spark plugs, what needs to be replaced every 100 hours or once a year, whichever comes first. Those are things like your engine oil and your filter, your low pressure fuel filter, and your gear case oil. And of course, the things that need to be replaced every 3 years or 300 hours, which is the accessory drive belt that drives the alternator and your water pump impeller. In addition, you've got your full throttle RPM range here, your idle speed RPM and neutral, and it tells you what kind of engine oil the engine needs to use, along with the spark plug specification. So everything you need to do your 100-hour and 300-hour checks is really right here at your fingertips. Now let's just talk about a couple of the most important things when it comes to maintaining your outboard engine. Now, for those of you in saltwater markets, you'll appreciate this the most, but we recommend that after each and every use, you flush your engine's cooling passageways with fresh water, just to get rid of all the salt deposits that'll naturally accumulate. Mercury's freshwater flush system on the new 150 4-stroke is conveniently located so that you can access it from outside the boat if it's on a trailer, right here, or even if the boat's on a lift and you have to flush it from inside the boat. Simply turn this cap, pull out the length of hose, and then unscrew the swivel from the cap. Very simple. Attach your garden hose, flush the engine. When you're done, simply reattach the cap, feed the hose back in, and tighten it up. Now, another important thing to do once a year or every 100 hours, whichever comes first, is always inspect your spark plugs. They may not need replacement, but you should at least take a look at them and make sure they're in good shape. Now, Mercury's new 150 4-stroke makes checking plugs very simple, very quick, very easy. All you need to do is remove the boot, use a standard spark plug wrench to remove the plug, and inspect it. If you're in saltwater markets in particular, it's a good idea to use some anti-seize compound around the threads to make installation and removal quick and easy every single time. Once you've reinstalled the spark plug, simply take the boot, place it back over the plug, and you're good to go. Now, the amount of time between spark plug changes could vary based on your boating habits and what type of plug you use. With this engine, Mercury gives you a choice of a couple of different types of plugs. Both of those specs are called out on the maintenance decal that we talked about earlier. Now, there's a standard plug, which has a lower initial upfront cost, but depending on your boating habits, it could require a little bit more frequent changeouts, or for a little bit more money up front, there's a longer life plug, which will give you more duration between changeouts. It all depends on how much you use your boat and what your boating habits are like, but we wanted you to have the choice. And one of the things you're going to see on this side of the engine is a lot of yellow. What we did was we color-coded all the major maintenance points on this engine with yellow to make it easy for you to get at and identify quickly. Starting with the oil fill cap right up here in the front of the engine. Now, if you keep your boat in the water, you can not only fill the oil there, but you can drain it from there with an optional kit that you can pump it out with. So that's easy, quick, and convenient for you. If you keep your boat on the trailer, it's also an easy way, easy access point to fill the oil sump when you're changing the oil. In addition to that, we've got an easy point down here where you could connect a hose to this before you open the valve to drain the oil, and that'll prevent oil from draining down the side of the engine and creating a mess. One of the things we hear most is people don't like to change the oil on their 4-stroke outboards because it always creates a mess. It runs down the side of the engine, they take the filter off and it runs through the pan, and there's always a lot of cleanup work. We've eliminated that with this system. This is our new no-spill oil filter change system as well. Now what you'll see here, and nobody else offers this but Mercury, is this new little oil drip pan here, so that any residual oil left in the oil filter, when you loosen this and take it off, rather than running into the lower pan of your engine, will just gather in this little drip tray. Now what we do is, before you remove the filter and after you've drained the oil, you just remove this little yellow cap at the bottom, connect a little length of hose here, and let the oil, when you take this off, drain out into the oil pan. Once again, quick and easy, no spilling and no mess. After the oil is drained, you take the hose off, put the cap back in, and wipe out the pan, and you're done. And of course, right next to the oil filter is the dipstick, also coated in yellow. We recommend you check your oil each and every time you go out, just to make sure you've got the right amount in. Now we also recommend that you change your low pressure fuel filter out every 100 hours or once a year. Again, to do that on most outboards is kind of a pain because it's usually way down low where you can't get at it. But on our new 150 4-stroke, it's quick and easy. In fact, it's less than a minute to do the whole job. First off, the service point is again color coded in yellow so you can find it. You give it a quarter turn and you have instant access to the fuel filter, which is this white part right here. There's a couple of quick disconnects, which are quick and easy. And there's a quick disconnect at the bottom, and literally you have your old filter off in just a couple of seconds. Take a new one and just reverse the process, and it doesn't get much simpler than that, folks. Right there, I've got a new filter in less than a minute, got it installed. One thing I'd like to direct your attention to on the maintenance label is this kind of funny looking little square. That's called a QR code, and if you have a smartphone with the appropriate app, you can actually download even more information on how to maintain and service this Mercury outboard right from Mercury's website. So now that we've talked about all the most important things you need to do to maintain your Mercury 150 4-stroke, let's talk about things that don't require maintenance. Things like valve lash adjustments, things like timing chain adjustments. All of those things on this new outboard from Mercury are maintenance free for the life of the engine. Now consider that when you're shopping the competition, because all of the competitive 4-strokes in this power range require periodic valve lash adjustments or timing chain adjustments, timing belt replacements, things like that. Those things take a lot of time at a dealership to do, and they cost a lot of money. And that's time that you could be spending out on the water with your new Mercury 150 4-stroke. All of the things that we put into this engine are designed to make it the easiest engine to maintain on the planet.